How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL video. And today we're going to be taking a look at my lineup preview for Game Week 9. We had a pretty good week going into Game Week 8, and it seems like the wildcard has paid off. I was very optimistic about it, and it seems to have done quite well, especially with Ben Chilwell getting 15 points on the wildcard. I didn't really consider him until later on in the week, and then it was like, well, maybe he is going to get a start. And he scored again, so getting Chelsea's only goal in that one. So the lineup did quite good for the wildcard, and it looks to be going good for the next few game weeks, at least, assuming there's no injuries. We may have one that we might have to deal with, though. We'll talk about that in a bit. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe channel if you're new, or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel. And turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Also, drop us a follow over on Twitter so that you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, from price changes to injury news and anything in between. And lastly, make sure to give us a follow over on Twitch so that you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams. We have to do our deadline stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. EDT because it is a Friday deadline, and I'm not home in time, basically, to get that stream up and running. I can only do them on Saturdays because of my work schedule. So make sure to come tune in for that. There'll be a pinned comment down below to give you the details on the streams as well. So without further ado, let's talk about our partners for the FPL season with Fantasy Football Scout. So if you haven't heard about Fantasy Football Scout, they have a fantastic members area during the regular season. It's £25 for the membership, and that lasts the entire year. And during the off season, they give a 20% discount. But if you have missed that discount, fear not, you can still get the membership for £25, and it's fantastic. You can see the membership area just behind me. You have a bunch of different stats that you can use, powered by Opta stats, and create your own custom tables. You have the Rate My Team tool, you have the season ticker, player comparison tools, a whole array of things that you can use to help elevate your FPL game. So use the link down in the description below so that you can get access to these exclusive tools to help elevate your FPL game. Sign up now. So this is how the team lined up after using the wild card, our first wild card of the season for the first half of the season in Game Week 8. We went with a 5-2-3 formation, a bit wonky and something that a lot of managers probably wouldn't have gone with, but I thought going big at the back could have paid off, and it would have paid off had Reece James and Diaz started, although we ended up with 64 points, so nothing to really complain there. We went basically back to where we were after 2 consecutive red arrows in Game Week 6 and in Game Week 7. And obviously we made unlimited transfers because we were on the wild card. So let's talk about the players that we brought in. We ended up going with the rotational goalkeepers. Didn't make much of a difference as to who we were going to go for in this game week, because both Raya and Ramsdale got 2 points, although there is some interesting choices in the next week or so as to who we're going to go for. Ramsdale looked like he was going to get a clean sheet. Raya probably should have deserved more based on how Brentford played in the game, but equally probably about a fair result based on the fixtures that they were playing. Ramsdale was probably more likely versus Crystal Palace, but Palace played very well and deserved to get 3 points in that game, although Arsenal managed to scrape a draw. In the back line, Reece James and Diaz, respectively, could have ended up with clean sheets had they started in their teams. Chilwell being the highlight of the week, 15 points, getting himself a goal and maximum bonus points with a clean sheet. Absolutely fantastic. Started in the Champions League tonight as well and came off after around 60 minutes. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed and knock on wood, all that stuff, that he is going to start on the weekend versus Norwich, because that looks like another potential clean sheet. Maybe get some attacking returns because he's been getting forward a lot, just like how Marcus Alonso does when he plays as well. Trent and Cancelo, another set of 6 points for them, another clean sheet. Just Trent's doing what Trent does, and Cancelo's been excellent. He got a goal in the Champions League last night when City played Club Brugge when they won 5-1. Took it really well as well. We talked about that on the captaincy video, so I'm expecting something from Cancelo this week, and maybe some captaincy options. Maybe he's one of them. He was one of my differentials on the video. Maybe we go for it, so we'll have to wait and see. But Diaz and James, just the 1 point. Diaz not starting. I expect him to start this week for Game Week 9. James, however, came on at the same time that Chilwell came off. He came on for Azpilicueta. So hopefully Reece James can help out the front line with potential injuries to Romelu Lukaku, which we'll touch on more in a bit. They might need his creativity to help out the likes of Havertz and whoever else could be playing up front, because it looks like they're going to be pretty threadbare for their forwards going into the game versus Norwich. But they have 3 really good fixtures, so those guys can recover, have the international break, and then when the more difficult fixtures come around, Chelsea should be fully stocked again. At least that's the... Based on the prognosis, looks like it might be a couple of games for both Lukaku and Werner. Mo Salah, best captaincy choice of the week, apart from Chilwell, and he just did what he does. Goal and assist again. I think that's 4 returns in 4, 7 total returns in the last 4. He's just absolutely ridiculous. Potential perma captaincy, and he's going up against a United defense that hasn't been doing very well in the Premier League this season, so maybe one to think about there. And then the blanks: Smith Rowe, Alan St. Maximin. I couldn't even pronounce his name. I was going to say St. Maximin and kind of just slurred the word a little bit there. But St. Maximin, he's got a very intricate name, but he's also got a very intricate way of playing football. He often dribbled past several Spurs players only to run into a blind alley and lose the ball. But he is definitely very exciting, I think, and I'm definitely going to hold him because I was going to bring him in for 2 games and then get rid of him for the likes of Ivan Toney, although those transfers may have to be put on hold depending on how things go. Jimenez being benched was also a bit weird. Him, James, and Diaz all coming on to block potential points off the bench. Now, I do not have Livramento or anyone who got more than 2 points, so not the end of the world for my team. Then Lukaku blanking again, a bit unfortunate again, has created 2 big chances during this drought as well, so he could have potentially picked up a couple extra assists than he would have already had, basically, and I think he could be getting more points than what he has been over this barren spell. But that's it for Game Week 8. Let's take a look at our defense going into Game Week 9. So we got a squad value of 101.2 million with no money in the bank at all. So we are a bit kind of a little bit stricken there. 1 free transfer this week, and we have 1 less chip available because we used our wild card last week. So just a free hit bench boost and triple captain, and the wild card to come in the second half of the season. But we're gonna go with the same back 5: Chilwell, James. No reason not to start either of those guys. I would think they're playing Norwich. If they start, they're most likely get a clean sheet. And plain and simple, Diaz and Cancelo. City have been keeping clean sheets left, right, and center. I expect Diaz to come back in. They didn't keep a clean sheet versus Bruges, but I think they'll want to correct that versus Brighton, who tend to not score very many goals at all. And Cancelo, with the form that he's in, I think he's undroppable at the moment. That being said, Pep will probably end up dropping him, which is why we have extra guys on the bench to potentially come in. And that's the one nice thing about our team, is that if a couple guys get knocked out of our defense, we have a couple of midfielders that can come in their stead as well. And then Trent versus Manchester United. He's going up against my team. It is a very good rivalry. But in the past, in the Premier League, it has been very close, very cagey affairs, not very high scoring, which could lead to Trent getting a clean sheet. So I'm going to stick him in there for now. I think he's probably the best go-to. And if they are to create something, it might come through him as well. Might get a direct free kick or a set piece. United haven't been very good at defending those in the last couple of games, so he might be on one of those to get an assist. And then Raya in goal. We're going to go for him over Ramsdale. I think Aston Villa can cause Arsenal problems. When Arsenal go up against a team that typically has like a very unique style of playing, and Aston Villa definitely do, they're going to cause Arsenal some issues, and I think they want to correct the 3 goals that they conceded late on to Wolves, and they may be coming to the Emirates with a bit of a point to prove, which might mean Ramsdale could be under threat and could be down 1-0 in the blink of an eye, whereas I think Raya has been very good at shot stopping, very good defensive line in front of him, and I think Leicester may have had a bit of a blip versus United. I think overall they've been struggling. They've switched to a front 2 system, but I think it could be a very entertaining game, and I think I'd rather have the goalkeeper that could be in a very entertaining game with a lot of saves, which, if he pulls it out of the bag, is likely to get a clean sheet versus Leicester if he's able to make a lot of miraculous saves, a lot more saves, which is basically what it comes down to. I think Raya's going to have to make more saves than Ramsdale to keep a clean sheet, so that means more save points in general. If they both concede, then Raya probably comes out on top. We've got Mbeumo, Smith Rowe, and Brownhill, 3 of our budget midfielders on the bench, although we might have to use those, but we'll talk about that when we come to having the full team on the screen. But let's talk about our 2 midfielders that we're playing for Game Week 9. Not really much to say here in the midfield. Rafinha should be back, and they're playing Wolves, who conceded 2 goals to Aston Villa, and for large portions of the game look very vulnerable, and I think they're going to need Rafinha. They average a lot more shots when he is in the team, so hopefully he's back to his very best. And Mo Salah, the man, the myth, the legend, he is someone who is considered the best player in the world right now, and could be on fire at Old Trafford, but United coming off a good win versus Atalanta, a very fiery second half, and United putting all the guns blazing and getting the victory may spur them on to have a much more resilient effort versus Liverpool than what they have been in the past few Premier League games. So Mo Salah will have to be on his P's and Q's, but he's been doing that pretty much all season, so I think he could end up with a return. He's potentially a viable captaincy option for this game week as well. So we'll talk about that once we have the front line in play. So without further ado, let's talk about that front line for game week 9. And we're basically just running back the same team with the forward line that we had before, except Rafinha is going to come in for the likes of Smith Rowe, who was in there for the last game week, and then Raya in for Ramsdale. We currently have St. Maximin and Jimenez, like I said, in there. They're just going to play, and St. Maximin might make way next week. But we currently have the armband on Lukaku, but he came off fairly early. He got taken down for a Jorginho penalty to allow Chelsea to go up 2-0 in their game versus Malmo, which they ultimately ended up winning 4-0. And he came off injured. He had a pretty nasty ankle twist. Not sure if it's ligament damage. Not sure if it's just a sprain. Not sure if it's just kind of a knock. And then he's fine for this game. But Tuchel said it could be days. It could be games. We're not too sure. We'll have to wait and see for his press conference come Friday and see what the prognosis is for Lukaku, or diagnosis, whatever the word would be. Basically, see how he is and whether we want to put the armband on him, because this was the ultimate game week for fixtures versus form. Salah, arguably the best player in the world at the moment, with probably one of the worst fixtures you can have away at Old Trafford, versus Lukaku, who has not been scoring goals, but has the best possible picture you can have on paper with Norwich at home. So he's currently my captain at the moment. If Lukaku is injured, there are definitely some transfers potentially to be made, or we could just drop him to the bench, captain somebody else. Maybe this is where a differential comes in, or maybe everyone just defaults to Salah, which is something I probably just want to do this week. Just probably keep it simple. Salah hasn't scored versus United in a while, from what I remember, at least in the Premier League. He always seems to struggle a little bit, but with the form that he's in, he could be absolutely devastating if United aren't careful. But if Lukaku's fine, I think he's going to have the armband for sure. He is versus Norwich. If he's not fine, then we'll have to make some decisions, and that would depend on if we make any transfers this week, or what the news is from the match interviews, or the pre-match press conferences. I couldn't think of the word, but yeah, the press conferences, which will come out on a Friday. And remember, it is a Friday deadline, so it's going to be a pretty quick turnaround. When all those presses are finished, they will be kind of, almost immediately, a couple hours later, where the deadline will be basically active, as it were, and then Arsenal will play Aston Villa hour and a half after that. So we'll have to see what Tuchel says and what all the other managers say too, because we might get some info on other players as well, which might force our hand. So let's take a look at what some of the transfers I was potentially looking at with the injuries or without the injuries going into the future game weeks. Now, this is the transfer screen, and as you can see, Romelu Lukaku has been flagged in FPL. He is an ankle injury with unknown return date. An ankle injury. He has an ankle injury, and that's not very good. I was concerned because I was like, Lukaku doesn't take penalties because Jorginho took it, but come to find out, it was actually him who got taken down for the penalty, and he injured himself on that play. Apparently, it wasn't I didn't see the challenge, but apparently it was a very clumsy challenge by the defender, and that's not great for Chelsea. And also, Timo Werner went down. It looked like he had a hamstring problem, so, I'm surprised Timo Werner doesn't get more hamstring injuries with how fast he is. But yeah, Lukaku being a miss could provide some potential avenues to spread the funds around. So if we wanted to do directly to Lukaku, we couldn't go to the likes of Harry Kane as an example, because Harry Kane is 0.4 million higher, unless we took a hit. Now, we could just observe Harry Kane over the next couple and then see where he's at come game week 12, where he has a really nice set of fixtures there. One thing we could do this week, though, is if we wanted to get rid of Lukaku, is bring in the likes of Jamie Vardy. Now, Jamie Vardy would be going up against Brentford, so it would be directly against the players that, or the player we want to keep in goal. But he could provide some, potential goal threat there. I mean, his run of fixtures up until and including Game Week 17 is really, really good. Arsenal at home just isn't, just Arsenal usually get turned over by Leicester, to be fair. Or at least Vardy always scores there. Leeds, Leicester could do well. Chelsea at home, maybe a good fixture for them in terms of trying to hit them on the counter, but Chelsea are really good defensively. And then a nice sea of FDR2s with Aston Villa kind of in there, but Aston Villa is still weak at the back as well. And then Leicester have obviously, not a great run. This is also a mixed bag as well. So, I mean, Vardy could be the one to go for, but I think I'm going to wait and see how it goes. Maybe we bring in Vardy, maybe we don't. And we'll see how it goes. I definitely wouldn't captain him versus Brentford away. I think that Brentford are quite good. Maybe he scores, maybe he doesn't. I mean, he's on a ridiculous hot streak. He's got, what is that? What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in his last 5 games or something like that. It's pretty over a goal a game. He's been doing quite well. And with this front 2 system, I mean, Daka and Iheanacho tonight in the Europa League. For some reason, they played on Wednesday. I'm not sure why. Daka scored 4 goals, so could be interesting. Maybe Vardy gets rotated potentially in the Christmas period, which would be around these games here is where Vardy would start to get rotated. But for the majority of it, I mean, Newcastle at home are probably the only real one that would be you'd probably want to have him for. And then maybe Norwich after the new year. But we'll see. Jamie Vardy definitely potentially on the shopping list. He is on our watch list as well. We've had him on there for a little bit now, but maybe it's just for some reason in the back of my mind, every time I've had Vardy, I've always kind of missed his returns. I triple captained him like a season or 2 ago, and he only got 1 goal. I think it was against Bournemouth, and they ended up losing 4-1 or whatever it was. The other thing that we could do is we can just wait and then go for Ivan Toney next week. So if Lukaku is definitely out, we can go for Ivan Toney. Bring him in, get the Brentford double up for Burnley away. That would be quite nice. And then maybe we can upgrade if Jimenez isn't doing well or St. Maximin isn't doing well, we can upgrade to somebody else, whoever that may be. If Calvert-Lewin's may be back, but he might still be a couple weeks out based on the reports that we're seeing from Sky. We're also seeing that maybe Bamford is potentially going to be back soon. Maybe he elevates Leeds as they still have, some decent fixtures, Norwich away. I would even like, Spurs away is probably a decent fixture. Crystal Palace at home, Brentford at home could be good fixtures for Leeds as well. So anything's really possible. Another alternative is we could also go from Rafinha if we wanted to. We just think Leeds aren't doing well. And we can go straight up to the likes of Sadio Mane, who is at 11.9 million at the moment as well. And he would be someone we could double up on from Game Week 10 onwards. I think West Ham away isn't a bad fixture for Liverpool specifically. Arsenal, they've always done well. Southampton, they've always done decently well. And then the rest of the fixtures up until, I think, all the way up until Game Week 26, realistically, and including Game Week 26, are pretty good. The only tough team that they have to face in that is, realistically, probably West Ham. Chelsea away, I mean, they should have probably beat Chelsea the first time that they played them. That one would be difficult as well. But I think that Klopp may have kind of got the edge over Tuchel in the last game. Maybe a bit of a mental war in that one. Tuchel was celebrating the kind of the draw, but I think for the most part Liverpool were pretty much on point in that one, and I don't think Chelsea were ever going to win that game even if they had 11 men on the field. Maybe I said something different in the past, but I think looking back on it now, from what I remember, it seemed to be mostly Liverpool. Another player that we could also potentially get, because we still have the slot for it as well, would be Kevin De Bruyne. We've completely forgotten about him. He is a premium asset at the moment. Is he playing like one? I mean, he's got 2 goals and 2, so that could definitely increase as well. And his fixtures are very good as well. We have double city defense for a reason. We're going to have him probably up until and including Game Week 26, so he could be an option in there as well. The only thing that I have to worry about, though, for this week, which I'm half tempted to just kind of maybe change something right now, maybe get a forward in and just start them over one of the Chelsea, but they have Norwich at home. I can't not play them, but I do have a worry about, you know, both Chilwell and James not starting, because Tuchel might just randomly not play them. But with Lukaku out, maybe he thinks, oh, I need to play Reece James. So, but with Rudiger back, Aspilicueta in there, you know, Thiago Silva's back. Now, Christensen, does James really start at right wing back? Not too sure, and they can both easily be benched. But I think Diaz, Cancelo, and Trent will play, which means we'll just get the likes of Mbeumo and Smith Rowe in as well. So, but let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do I need to get rid of Lukaku? Do I need to worry about my Chelsea defense? Who should I be looking to potentially get this week? Or should I just roll a transfer? I think the most logical thing to do is roll the transfer, just put in Mbeumo, see how it goes. Probably Captain Salah just by default. Maybe Cancelo. I almost said Diaz. Definitely pick Cancelo if I was going to captain somebody. As an oddball, maybe Rafinha, maybe St. Maximin or Jimenez, but those are definitely out there shouts. If I knew Chilwell or James were definitely starting, maybe go for one of those, as the clean sheet is almost a guarantee, and I think they have the highest chance for a clean sheet this week as well. So let me know what you think down in the comments below, and yeah, that's going to do it for my Game Week 9 lineup preview. And that's going to do it for our Game Week 9 lineup preview. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel. And turn those notification bells on so you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Also, drop us a follow over on Twitter if you want to keep up to date with any and all FPL news, from injury news to fixture news and anything in between. As well as give us a follow over on Twitch so that you can join us live and ask your questions over on Twitch for our preview and deadline streams. We'll be having a deadline stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. EDT. Not the normal Saturday time, because it is a Friday deadline, so we're doing it the night before. So make sure to come join us for that one. There'll be a pinned comment down below to give the details on that. And lastly, there'll be a pinned comment or a comment in the comment section we'll have a link for the Fantasy Football Scout members area. If you haven't checked that out, it's fantastic. You can have Opta driven stats tables, which you see on pretty much the majority of my videos, as well as we integrate them into the streams as well. And we'll be doing that in tomorrow's deadline stream, almost certainly, with things like the goals imminent table, the captaincy table, all that sort of stuff, which are public in the members area, and much, much more. It's going to help elevate your FPL game. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.